Let's start. I'd like to thank everybody that is joining us right now on this live webinar. One of a series of webinars that Streann is doing to spread the word of streaming, of everything that is happening post COVID. And I have the honor to have as a guest Ron Gandiza. And I'll ask Ron some very interesting questions of how he's growing the business. But Ron, you want to say something to our virtual audience?
Well, as we say back home in Hawaii, aloha.
Aloha. Fantastic. Where are you based right now? Where are
I'm
you?
actually, I'm from Hawaii, but I live in North Carolina. So I'm about an hour north of Charlotte.
I thought you were going to say you were in Hawaii. That would
I know.
be.
I would, well, that's why my office is as close as I get right now. But I'm in a mountaintop, so it's a beautiful view. It's just not an ocean view.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit of what you're doing.
So I'm with the Plant-Based Network. I'm the CEO and co-founder. The Plant-Based Network is a lifestyle and entertainment media company that promotes the plant-based lifestyle for better health, sustainability, and encouraging compassion for all. So we have not just a TV network. The Plant-Based Network consists of a TV network, magazine, a bi-monthly digital magazine, an event management company, an online learning solutions company, and then a business services company. So all five of these divisions all form the Plant-Based Network. And basically, we provide a way for plant-based businesses, or not just plant-based, but any business that's reaching out to the veg curious and veg friendly. All the people that are looking for better health, maybe more sustainability. So omnivores, reducitarians, flexitarians, and then of course your vegetarians and vegans that watch our network.
Listen, and what inspired you to start this?
Well, in 2000, I've always been involved in marketing technology, actually training and education for 25 years, built a lot of global programs. But in 2014, I got really sick. In fact, by 2015, I was bedridden.
Oh, wow.
So I couldn't walk. I had heavy inflammation in all my joints, and I couldn't see. My eyes would shake every 5 minutes. You could see my eyeballs basically shake. Basically, I had vertigo every 5 minutes. And then I went plant-based, tried it out, had nothing to lose. But at that time, I had watched the couple documentaries, and there, the impact of documentaries, and I basically uh, could walk with 2 weeks after without a cane,
Amazing, huh?
going plant-based, whole food plant-based. Basically, I gave up meat and dairy, and then I could see without getting dizzy. I mean, my eyes stopped shaking 2 weeks after that. And that kind of started my journey on plant-based living, and did a number of things, launched a whole line of meals, launched a support community with Plant Pure Nation. I had a film on Netflix and in theaters. And again, I was just the chief marketing officer for the company and chief information officer.
That's exciting. Yeah.
But and then I launched. I wanted to go bigger. I wanted to go ahead and reach out to the world, and that's where last year we started the Plant-Based Network, November 1st, which is World Vegan Day. We started at 2019.
Did it on purpose?
Yeah. No, actually, I would like to say so, but it just kind of fell into like that. So 2019, November 1st, we officially launched. And that's when we launched the streaming platform. And since then, we've grown by leaps and bounds. And as of right now, because of the sheer number of channels that we have. When I say channels, I'm talking the platforms, right? Different types of platforms. We're really poised to take advantage of the number one food trend in the world right now. Literally, the number one trend in food and beverage, and even fashion is plant-based. So we're the only ones targeting specifically that market.
Yeah, and the topic of our webinar talks about the concept of niche. Focusing on niche markets that 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 is really where the end user is looking for that differentiation. You're not going to compete with Netflix,
Right.
but you are going to create a niche where people want to watch plant-based uh, entertainment. They know exactly where to go, right? And that takes me to the second question. Why Go OTT?
Well, the way we saw it, there's a lot of content out there. One of the big, I mean, there are several reasons, but one of the big reasons is a lot of uh, companies are creating plant-based products, and I mean not just plant-based entrepreneurs, but large companies like even Dannon or Hormel, which is a traditional meat company creating spam, but they have these products now and product lines and separate businesses that target specifically, people who want to eat healthier or go plant-based for a number of reasons. So they talk a lot about the health reasons. The problem with health is a lot of those companies that are starting, smaller ones, small to mid-size, can't afford to promote on TV. And the people who are concerned about health, like me, I'm 50, grandchildren, and you know you're worried about your health, you want to be around longer. So my age group tends to consume more on TV, right? 40 plus TV, as opposed to the millennials, which will no problem consuming on YouTube, right? uh, and if you're concerned about your health, you tend to trust TV more. And we know this, that TV has a people trust TV 70 to 80%, versus um, the research shows that social media has an 8% trust
Wow.
rating. Even online YouTube videos have a 12%. So if you're trying to sell products that are geared towards health, for instance, where you're trusting literally your life, right, to these type of products, where do you market? Well, you market on TV. But if you can't afford it, you market on social media. So a lot of plant-based companies we found were marketing their products on social media, but that's not where their audience is.
Interesting.
It's on TV. So we're like, well, how do we help them? Now we couldn't afford to put together a terrestrial, right, TV network with a studio. Now we looked at it and we were like, okay, can we buy a bankrupt
Yeah.
TV network at
Warehouse or whatever.
50,000? But it was like, you know what? Streaming. And that's when we started looking at OTT.
Wow, amazing. Amazing. And what is so special about? I think we talked about what is so special about your platform. I think the niche, the education, the mission behind it is just wonderful. So I'll jump to the other one, monetization, which you touched a little bit. How's your network going to monetize?
So our revenue is primarily through advertising and marketing, right? Advertising and sponsorships, to be more specific. So the advertising is just, you have ad slots, right? 30-second to 60-second commercials, typically. And people will pay for X amount of impressions, right? Uh, but in addition to that, we have product placement. So sponsorships are where someone sponsors a specific show. Now, the plant-based network has a lot of different types of shows. So we have cooking shows, which people expect when you talk about plant-based lifestyle, but we also have music videos. We have travel shows. We have health and fitness. We have shopping shows. We have family and kids shows. So it's because it's a broad subject, right? You talk about better health, more sustainability, uh, or animal, right? Compassion. It kind of covers quite a wide range. I mean, green technologies, energy, all fit into that. Solar panels, windmills, all of this stuff falls into the realm of plant-based lifestyle. So our advertisers and sponsors pay for that. Sponsorship, you pay for a show or for a season, and a season's like 10 to 12 shows.
So it's interesting because a lot of streaming providers or OTTs are still thinking that SVOD subscription is a way to go, but you've taken completely, you've taken the advertising approach, the Peacock approach, which
Right.
is free, even though I think Peacock does charge for some of the content, but so you're taking that approach where it's advertising based.
Yes.
Are
Now
you
we have
are
that.
you foreseeing that maybe you'll do some pay-per-view events? Maybe you'll
Yes,
do.
exactly.
Yeah, okay,
That's
great.
a big deal. So when we first started for the first, and keep in mind, it's only a year old, right? So for
Right.
the first year, it was like, will anyone, because what makes us different, one of the big things is that we have no meat, dairy, or drug commercials. So there's no anxiety for people to watch it. Or if you're trying to transition to plant-based, you're not watching an Arby's commercial, right? So, one of the things that pissed me off was I would watch Food Network and I'd be like, okay, it's a bunch of meat competitions, literally barbecue meat competitions. And then you'd see a Cialis commercial every, you know, few minutes. So I'm going, you know, when you eat plant-based, you don't have erectile dysfunction. So those kind of commercials kind of seem useless. So, uh, you know what
That's,
I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No, no. I think the advertisement, the pay-per-view. We're gonna talk about it. Are you planning some pay-per-view events?
Yeah. So keep in mind for the plant-based network, we have 5 divisions, right? So one of our divisions is an event management company. So virtual veg fests, online summits, web summits, cooking demonstrations or shows, classes, um, special movies and documentaries that normally are paid for. Those all have the ability to be pay-per-view and live stream. So we will have that. And we are looking at premium shows and a network to essentially create a premium subscription. So you see this with Discovery, right? They have the Discovery Channel, but then they have Discovery Plus,
Right.
and then there's a subscription for that. So we're looking at free. Now, our goal, our ultimate goal of the plant-based network is to grow the plant-based movement, right? That's our niche. So we wanted no barrier to entry for the typical viewer to grow
That's
the audience.
that's the mission behind it. Is no barrier. Yeah.
So, and then when they want to delve in deeper, we have that subscription model. And then if they want to watch specific shows or specific events, we have full conferences. Now, here's the beauty of COVID. When COVID hit, not that there's beauty in COVID, but here's how we were able to leverage. A lot of organizations had to go online, right? Take their in-person events. So we took their in-person events and said, well, why don't we help you take it online and live stream it, and people will pay for that as a pay-per-view.
No. No. Also, and obviously, to think that way, you need to have a platform, right? If you don't have a platform, you can't even create these new business models that are necessary today,
Right.
um, for content providers. So, um, how did COVID change the game for you?
You know, prior to COVID, we had just launched in November of 2019, right? So it only been a couple months before COVID hit. And we were growing just because there is in our particular niche, there really uh, wasn't many, weren't many streaming TV networks for the plant-based world. Some of them you would find channels that were like cooking shows, and they just basically took YouTube videos and put it on the network, a streaming platform. So we were still relatively new, but we got some press because of what we were trying to do, right? A lifestyle and entertainment, not an activist organization. Our audience is mainstream. So when COVID hit, people were staying at home more. Our traffic tripled.
Right.
I and I said, "Wow, this is interesting." It tripled, and then with those numbers, not only did our TV network viewership grow, but then people wanted more information. So our website traffic grew, our social media grew. So we just grew across the board. And I said, well, this is what do people want? So we started using social media and growing our email list and finding the kind of programming people wanted. And people wanted to learn more about health. They wanted to learn more about sustainability because when people were staying inside, people were watching these videos of animals. Remember, I don't know if you saw those. People say, "Oh my gosh, we're all inside, and there's deer running in the streets, or
Yeah, 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 yeah. I remember that.
there's the canals in Italy are all having dolphins jumping through it." And everyone was, "Look, when humans are out of the picture, nature comes back." So people got more interested in sustainability. Uh,
Interesting.
and so the interest in our network, because our slogan literally for the better for the plant-based network is better health, greener planet. So in terms of COVID, it just brought a lot of awareness and people interested in more information.
No, what I thought was interesting, and hopefully the audience here can also relate to, is that you used social media to learn more about what the audience wanted to watch, and then you created and provided that type of content, and that's pretty awesome. And really, social media is great. It's free. Everybody should be on it. You should use it, not get used by social media. One of the things I always say is that you're gonna have a million people on Instagram or YouTube, but you really don't know the user behavior until you go OTT, and that's where you can really analyze and go deeper. But again, if you use polls on social media, if you ask the right questions, if you drive your marketing strategy so that there is an outcome of data that then you can use for your content strategy, that's the right way to do it. That's the right way. So that's pretty cool that you did that. Your roadmap, like what should people expect in the next months or in 2021 from you?
Well, content is king, right? So we've brought on a top film producer and TV producer who's got films on CW or TV shows on CW and Disney Plus and so on. So we've essentially brought on some talent now that we know. I say higher talent because some of us didn't have much TV experience. And quite frankly, I don't come from the TV world. I come from digital marketing, right? I own the digital marketing agency, but I wouldn't say that I was a TV expert at all. So we could come in now that we've proven concept.
Interesting.
We brought that, so we're basically finding more content. We found content creators. One thing I would say is we wanted to differentiate ourselves from YouTube, right? Because people will look at YouTube and go, "Well, this content's for free. Why do I need to watch your TV network?" So having that broadcast quality, and separating, and not just having talking heads, because obviously there's a lot of talking heads.
Yeah.
So our roadmap for 2021 is to, one, find stellar content, because there is stellar content available out there. People who couldn't get Netflix to, to buy their TV show, and what do? They put it on Vimeo, they put it on YouTube,
Right.
and say, okay, let's try to get some exposure. You can find those. And then second, now that we've proven concept, now that we have advertisers and sponsors, because it took a year to build up numbers where people would care, then it's like, okay, now we can produce content. Let's find sponsors. Let's go ahead and create content that's specific, that the plant-based network can essentially say is exclusive.
Yeah, and there's actually a question that comes from the virtual audience. Kathleen Burns asks, "What is your content production budget per year?" And I don't know if you can disclose how much original content you publish per month. So, two questions from Kathleen: What is your content production budget per year, and how much original content you publish per month?
So we don't really have a budget, per se. The content is, so this is the process. So someone has a show, they want to pitch a show. We have a way that they have to submit that pitch. We have a review team that looks at it, and if it looks like it's something that our audience will like, we may do a little feedback from our members. Then we'll go ahead and scope out the costs, right? The people, processes, and platforms. I call it a P3. We'll look at the people, processes, and platforms, create a document, and then we say, okay, how much do those people, processes, and platforms cost? Feasibility. Then we'll take that and we'll try to find a celebrity or someone that's got some pull that might be part of this show. We get them to commit. Once they commit in writing, then we go after sponsors, right? And then so we can go after the companies that would be aligned with that particular show that may want to advertise or sponsor a show, and that's the money. So then we know the feasibility, and so it's a budget. So it's literally the budget's per show. We don't have a set
Mm.
budget saying we're going to carve this out, because quite frankly, we didn't have a budget when we started the company. It was
Okay,
bootstrapped completely.
that is very TV oriented, type of question. You create a budget first. I think there's so much the opportunity around streaming and OTT is that's happening now. right?
Yes.
So you get you take the quality wherever you can get, but it's definitely not as I think it's still the wild west in many ways, and it's not a bad thing. That's the disruption that is happening, and let it be so disruptive, and less broadcast. So another question, which is interesting. Wonder Woman goes streaming, direct to consumer. Um, what do you think of? Is this the end of movie theaters?
I think it is changing the landscape, because even when COVID's gone, and it will be gone, people are now open minded, right? Oh, I can stream this at home. A lot more big televisions were sold essentially over 2020, because people are like, if I'm going to be home and I can't go out, I'm going to enjoy myself at home and basically build my own home theater, right? And you see the sales on TVs. So it's something. The genie's out of the bottle. So the
Okay.
genie's out of the bottle. Yeah, people will go back to the theater. I don't think it's the end of movies. Totally. What I'm saying though is the viewership is just there. I think more people are going to be looking for ways
Okay,
to enjoy it at home.
Ron, generation, the millennials and the I generation that have now the comfort of watching at home with Wi-Fi, with all the multitasking that they want to do, are they gonna go back to the movies?
Okay, there's a social aspect. So I have two daughters. Or five. I have five kids. Now they're all out of college, so they're not like small. I can't tell you that what they would react. But I have two grandkids who also like to go to the movies. There's a social media, not social. There's a social interaction,
Right,
right,
right.
aspect that you get on a big screen. That being said, I mean, I got a VR helmet right down here, right,
Wow. Okay.
Oculus. Uh, if I wanted to see it on the big screen, literally in the theater, I technically could put it on and be in a theater. And so,
Right.
but I'm not with, well, even then they have like people you can watch with and interact with. But I still think there's a place for movie theaters. That being said, I think streaming TV is going to take a huge chunk out of it.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. You talked about VR, where it was a huge demand for us a couple of years ago. We were doing TV apps in VR, and obviously now it's for the event industry. Virtual reality becomes very, very, very interesting. Do you see your content also in virtual reality in VR?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I was looking into VR 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, I was buying every piece of VR equipment I
Same,
could,
same here. We were developing stuff around it. Then we kind of stopped because the demand started slowing down from the traditional broadcasters. But obviously now, so tell me more. So you do see your content in VR, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, because people want an experience, right? And as obviously as the technology grows and as bandwidth increases, and you have that ability. I mean, I didn't even buy the latest Oculus, but the resolution was crazy. Oculus Go, and it's not connected. Remember before you used to have a
Yeah.
wire sticking out of your head.
Right.
Now it's completely. I mean,
Yeah,
it's completely. Hold on,
standalone.
hold on. Let me do this. Hang on. Take a look here. This is it. This is the VR, right? You do this, you open
I think we
this,
lost him, guys. I think we lost him. He's going virtual.
you
He's
do
going
this,
virtual reality right now.
you go here, and you open this. This is it. This is the whole unit. You got two pieces, and this is the whole unit with two hand controls. That's this is it. You can go anywhere with this and basically end up anywhere you want, right? So I mean, I say anywhere. I mean, there are people live streaming on a beach and saying, "Here, go sit down," or in a jungle in Africa, and you're seeing lions, and elephants walking by in real time, right? So that kind of interaction, VR is going to increase. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah. So I smile because I remember, I think it was 3 years ago. So we launched this big OTT in Central America. I'm not gonna say where, but there's a there was a packed room. I think there were about 150 or more people. So we announced the launch of this OTT, and then we also prepared for them, which was, wow, what is this? I can watch my content, my broadcast on mobile, on Roku, on Apple TV. This is crazy. And then at the same time we said, but we have a surprise for you, we also are launching virtual reality. And we lost the audience because for them it was already a wow. Ott was already wow. And then when we gave them the headset and everybody was testing it, they were so overwhelmed that it was just interesting to see their reaction. I laugh because they could not educate the market. They tried for so many years educating the market on OTT. So for them, virtual reality was way over the head. But not now, not.
Right. I mean, think about the cost. What I just showed you was a
Remember
$299
that? Yes,
headset,
yes.
right? So before VR technology was like 1,200, 1,500, 2,000. Remember Google's
Oh yeah,
glasses, which
glasses.
they discontinued. And you have VR and then you have augmented reality. So I think those two things are,
They're here
it's
to
not a
stay. They're
matter of,
gonna grow. Yeah,
yeah,
a matter of
cost is
time.
down.
So we have a question from Chris Carl to Ron. Ron, do you have a distribution strategy for your content yet? And then Chris also asked, specifically thinking about linear streaming platform.
Now, our distribution strategy is evolving, I would say. Right now, just so you know, our content is distributed on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire because those three platforms alone have over 100 million active subscribers. And a lot of smart TVs now. I mean, you could have a smart TV app, and then a lot of them have Hulu or Amazon Fire built into the TV, right? So we decided to go ahead and make sure we're on those. But then iPhones and Androids, in terms of mobile devices for distribution, especially with new technologies that we have now, that don't just put the video, but you have interaction, you have chats, you have polls and things available on a mobile app that you wouldn't have.
Yeah.
All of it's measurable, right? So metrics wise, distribution, we're like, let's keep going um, with that. So we're pretty set, but I say evolving because we're throwing in more live reporting, and it's more, our focus is more on content development.
Mm.
Now we have it also on the website, so we have Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, iPhones, Androids, and then we have the website,
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, you
right?
got to be everywhere. You definitely distribution. You say content is king. We have a formula for content for our the content strategy, which is content is great, but if you're not distributing that content everywhere and you're not engaging with all these different tools that, for example, our technology gives, you're never going to be able to spread the word or even monetize. Another question from John Guild: whose ads are you using for the ad engine, if I understand that right? So, which, are you working with programmatic advertisement or is it direct sponsor?
No, we're we're in what we call an AVOD, right? Model. So in the AVOD model, for advertising video on demand model, we're working specifically with um, our uh, businesses that we've contacted or who contacted us that are working, that have products and services that are on the plant based. That's why we couldn't use some of the other models where you go out and you kind of just subscribe to existing advertisers out there on a particular network and have it kind of imported into your shows. We needed more control because, again, we don't have no meat, no dairy, no jug commercials. I couldn't have a Burger King commercial show up with a Whopper unless it's an Impossible Whopper, but or having a McDonald's commercial or something show up. So we had to have more control over that. And then we also, again, from the if they need, so my company does four things. We do brand strategy, mapping it out, planning, content development, So we can produce content in multiple formats. And then we do advertising marketing. The advertising marketing is the distribution. Once we build the content, it goes into all these distribution channels. We promote it depending on what they pay. We can promote on one channel or multiple channels. We have bundled packages for that. And then we get community feedback. And we call that our BARS program, or brand awareness and reach system. So all of that together is what we sell. And so when advertisers come in, they know they've got, we can basically fill, if they don't have content like a video, for instance, to put together commercial, we can build it, but they'll pay for it.
So one more question, still from John. How much time and people dedicated to growing advertising you having digital ad agency help?
It's us. So I'm lucky in that 3 of my partners own digital marketing agencies before we joined together. So we understood that, which is why plant-based-entrepreneurs.com is us. So we have business services, and we can use that for ourselves and market that as digital marketing. But obviously, for our own company, for the Plant-Based Network, we use all of those services. SEO, social media management, building webinars or email campaigns or influencer campaigns. All of that is available to us. I'm sorry, what was the rest of the question on that?
Let me check. Let me see. Advertising, you have a digital agency that helps.
Oh, yeah.
How many people?
How many people? That was a busy.
Yeah.
But we have we have 12 solution architects, or I call them solution architects, but part of their duty is sales rep. We call them solution architects because we have so many solutions for people. Nice. But yeah, so we only had 2 for the year, and it was commission based salespeople.
That's a good advice.
And then and they get a certain percentage from the sponsorships and advertisements. And then now, because of the popularity of it, we're now training 10 more people. We just started training them, and they've got another 2 weeks of training. They go through 30 days of training with us.
Wow. What advices would you give out to content providers out there?
Oh, for the content providers, the content creators?
Yeah.
There's a couple things. One of the we get pitched a lot of shows. And keep in mind, when you work with a niche, which is what we're really talking about, you get a lot of passionate people, and you get a lot of people with different skill sets, right? So you have some people that have this super polished content. They've been building this, and maybe they got some money to put together essentially a pilot, right, for a show, and they want to then market it. And then you have people that have no experience whatsoever and are filming on their phone, and they're echoing back and forth. They sound like they're in a toilet when they're filming, but they got a good concept. So you have to kind of look at everything, for content creators. If you're interested, you separate yourself from a typical person off the street that could be on YouTube. And I don't get me wrong. When I look at YouTube, it's got a lot of great content. But if you're building a TV network and you're you're trying to sell to advertisers and sponsors why they should advertise on your network as opposed to just posting a video on YouTube, right? Or partnering with a show that's already on YouTube, it's the quality piece of it. Again, understanding that there's a higher trust factor that comes with TV. So if you're a content creator, you want the best cameras that you can get, right? You want to have a microphone, a lavalier that's tied to that camera, that you're not just filming. Even if you're using, let's face it, there are some really good devices now. I've got a Samsung Ultra 20 and the video's killer. But, you still need that microphone. The sound quality matters. And then even right outside, invest in the equipment. If you're gonna build content, you really want it for a OTT. Think of it. As much as it seems like, well, it's not, because it's deceiving. It's deceiving when it's so easy, relatively speaking, right, compared to having a TV studio to create an OTT network, especially when you have the right partners for the right platform, right?
Yeah, I know.
That's it.
I think that's so important because anybody can be. You can have your content on platforms. Anybody can build apps, right? But not everybody can have 100 different tools to engage and monetize. And at the end, Ron, it's a partnership. And if you win, we win. It's that simple. So we need to make sure that you have all the tools to win in digital.
Right.
That's
And so
that's
if you have this great vehicle, right, the platform, then you want to make sure you have everything you need, right? You need great sound, you need great video, your background. And here's the other thing. TV content creators need to think about script because a lot of people go into the whole reality mode. Just follow me. I'm going to different restaurants and I'm gonna. Hey, there's a place for that, and people will watch it, right? It's not like reality TV doesn't have a viewership. Let's face it, but you need to mix it up, have some content, and that means script writing. So investing and finding people who can do
good
scripts,
content writers. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Good content writers, and make it again for your niche. Make sure that you have something that again is not something you can find on YouTube. On YouTube, there's a lot of interviews, right? A lot of talking heads
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's easy to do. Make yours different. Make it where you've got B-roll, where you're interact, and you've got other content. If you do an interview style, which we have a number of interview shows, add in B-roll, add in pictures and images that kind of bring people in and tell a story
Right.
rather than just doing a
Yeah, yeah. Here it is.
live newscast. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. There's no more questions coming from the audience. We're gonna move now to um, a new piece of content, which is the 10 words game. You were not prepared for this, Ron, and that's on purpose. I'm gonna say 10 words, and every time I say a word, you have to say the first thing that comes to your mind. All right.
Oh no.
So we're gonna start the 10 words game right now. Let's hear the drums. And here you go. Netflix,
Movies.
Quibi,
Out of business.
user generated content,
Review.
Meet,
Hate.
movie theaters,
Slow.
TikTok,
Funny.
live streaming,
Big.
plants,
Love it.
Zoom,
Love it.
COVID.
Hate it.
And that's it. Listen, thank you so much for being part of our Tech Talk, Ron. And it's going to be, there's never been a better time to be in the content business than right now. And thank you again for your partnership. We look forward to growing together.
Excellent. Me too. Love you guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye to the audience.